Right, good morning, folks. Good evening, good day, wherever you are in the world. Right, what we're going to do today is I want to have a look at getting these tanks properly automated, filtered. So basically, the setup I've got here, this is on my to-do list, and while I'm waiting for the base to come back up to pressure, is when we have worked on smelting, all the gases go into a big holding hot tank straight outside the base there. And that temperature is obviously super high, too high to put into the base. So what I've done, I have put a tank up there. I don't know if you can see it, just up there. And that tank is currently sitting at -12, and it's only got a little bit of stuff in, and that's because I draw the hot gas. There's a pump outside, and that pump I've got to bring inside so I can switch it on and off from here. That's on my to-do list today, hopefully. And that'll pump the gas into the tank behind this wall. I've got a bank of radiators which will cool it down. So when that gas first comes in, this is going to read super high. 250, 300, maybe 150 degrees C, whatever. It's too high for the base. So it'll sit in that tank and it'll cool down with the radiators that are outside, which I'll show you later. And this tells me this pipe analyzer will tell me what's in there. So currently at the moment, I've only got the nitrogen and oxygen to switch on when that temperature gets to 25. When that temperature gets to 25 degrees C, that tells these two to switch on. They then pump the respecting nitrogen and oxygen into these tanks in here, straight into there. So they'll go into that one and they'll go into that one. So these ones have only ever really been filled up with gas temperatures in the range of, what's the base temperature now, 22 to 25. So why are you not giving what? Oh, we've run out of oxygen. Okay, well, that's fine. I have got an oxygen tank in the base, manually just bleeding air oxygen into the base, so that's probably why she's filling the base up slower than usual. And there's the tank down there. She's got 3.8 megs or something, but that's okay. I'm just going to leave that. I'm not going to get distracted and run around after that. That is not our mission on this episode, to fill the oxygen in. Hopefully when I've done all that and I'm successful, then we can start pumping some oxygen in. But this is not an issue, so let's switch on to the nitrogen. Let's not demonstrate an empty tank, shall we? Okay, so we know what that's got there. So you can see here, she's got 22 degrees. Okay, so if she takes any nitrogen out of the base, it's coming in at 22, and if she comes out of that tank there, it's coming in at 25. So anywhere in the range of 20 to 25. And that's okay, because I have my base temperature set at around 23 degrees, so it's quite comfortably sitting at 22.4. So having this at 22.4 or 22 or 25 is quite okay. This air conditioner hasn't got to do an awful lot of work to set it up for the base. Okay. So possibly one of the reasons why that tank as well is down to 22 and is not sitting at 25, because that's what this is chucking out, is because when it switches on these filters, it's 25. But obviously as the volume of gas drops, the radiators aren't automatic, they just stay on whatever. Again, that's on a to-do list. Have them maybe switch off from the gas circuit when it gets below, let's say 20, so this will always remain at 20. But at the moment, it doesn't really matter that, you know, if I turn this, what do we got? We've got a little bit of nitrogen in there. If I turn this on, she's going to start sucking that nitrogen out at -12 degrees. And again, as this volume drops, you'll see that temperature drop more to match the outside. And then if we go and look in here, you'll see this tank isn't dropping down. So it's at 450. The nitrogen coming in is -12, but look at the temperature. Temperature's fine. The cold gas is mixing with that warm gas, and all's a doogie. Okay. However, one of the things I need to do, okay, so I've told these two pumps, hey, when this gets to 25 degrees or below, switch on. And they do that quite happily. Because otherwise I'll be just running backwards and forwards, checking on this temperature. Because again, I don't want hot gas going in there, so I always have to wait. But there's a couple of things. I don't want to keep running back here, and these are using power, and you know, if this runs empty, these are still on. And although they don't use an awful lot of power, don't need it. Okay? So what we're going to do today is I'm going to set up a logic system. Now this is something, if you know about computer programming, you can do an IC switch, an IC chip will do this for you. No problem. Simple, takes a little space, job done. However, I have no idea on writing scripts for the computer. And also, I kind of like the challenge. I am a sucker for punishment. I like the challenge of putting it in there, and if it doesn't work, going back, fixing it, and then I get a huge satisfaction when I hit the on button and it works. And of course, we're going to have a storm. But that's okay, because if it's nighttime, we're charging batteries. So let's get to it, folks. So I've done a little preparation. So I've taken some of these. I've not counted exactly how many I'm going to need. I've just printed up a whole lot of stuff. I may run short, I may not. Who knows? Okay, so I'll put that over there because I'll put these over here because if I need to go and fill them up again, I want to know that those are the empty ones. What have we got in here? Cereal bars, I am going to leave there. So we're going to be here for quite a while. So you can see there, just by me getting the preparations ready, I'm down on thirst. And bars, so just top myself up. And I'm going to stick that maybe there. I'll take a cereal bar, have a quick munchy munch. And we stick that there. And I'm just going to leave them there. I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to go to... come on, welcome to my OCD. Look, behave yourself. There. Right, so without any further ado, let's start making some space, find out where we are. First of all, let's get rid of this. And I forgot to charge my batteries, so I'm not as prepared as I thought. Let's stick all this in there. This, I was just put this here just for ideas, how it would look. Okay, and there we go. Right, okay, so let's start ripping this place apart. I've got a funny feeling we are going to need lots of space. Take out of here as well. Okay, yeah. So we've got lots of space to work with, even if I just manage to let's say get the nitrogen system. I'm going to do one at a time. I'm going to work on the nitrogen system, then the oxygen system, because, you know, don't give yourself the job more than you can bite off. We're going to stick these here because these are for the floors. I think let's rip this up. Make life. Let's have a look at my settings because I did turn the volume down. I know people were having trouble listening to the audio. Most volumes 90. Sound effects. Sound effects. Let's put that down to 90-ish. I think that's a bit quieter. Anyway, we're not going to be doing too much grinding. So we'll put those there. Right. So, one of the things, if you're going to do it this way, and if you've got a brain that functions like mine and a memory that's terrible, it's a good idea to write down what the conditions are you want before this switches on, and what the conditions are that you want for it to switch off. So, the first condition we're going to read is the temperature below 25 or below? Because that's going to be one of the conditions. The second condition, before you want that to switch on, is the pressure in the destination tank at its max? Can it hold the gas you're going to send? If the answer to that question is no, and your destination tank is full and this switches on, kaboom! And then I get to put my great thumbnail up which says 0 days since accident. And not only that, you get to rebuild half your base because that's gone kaboom. And yeah, I think if that side of the base went kaboom, I mean, look at these wirings. Look at this plumbing. You'll be there for a day and a night. So, is the destination pressure okay? And if the answer to that question is yes, then that'll switch on. Now let's think, do we need any others for it to say yes, switch on? I'm just trying to think now. So those are the first few I wrote on the list, so this is why it's a good idea to have it, because I don't want to start this project, do all that, set it all up, working perfectly, and go, huh, I forgot to put another one on, because then it's a mission. So let's get it all out the way to start with. So obviously the first one I've done is the temperature below 25, and yeah, so we've got that. So I'm going to have to find that in there somewhere, because let's worry about that later. Let's get distracted. So first condition for switching on, temperature below 25. Destination pressure is below max. And I'm going to just put this one on. Does this tank actually have nitrogen in it? Because obviously you don't want your filters switching on. I know it doesn't really make a blind bit of difference, but in a base like mine where I'm not really struggling for power, but it's a bit of a waste of power turning that on when there's no nitrogen in there. So does this tank have what I need? Okay, so we're going to explore that. You're going to explore that with me. You're going to come on a little journey. So we've got this analyzer here, so everything that we put down, the reading logic readers are going to read off this. Okay, so first thing I need to do, I think, is identify filtration hot N. So we are going to identify, you see, this is where N hot extract, yeah, so that's nitrogen. That's the logic. Oh yeah, N tank P. Is that the pressure? What have I done here? I've done something here already. It's not tank P, O2 tank, and this is where you have. Okay. Well, that's fine, because we're asking it 3 questions before it turns on. You see, this is my Windows 95 brain working. I'm like, how can I do this now without having to actually go in here and rip it? What is tank, compare tank P, what am I comparing there? Compare N tank P. Compare N tank P. What are you comparing? Let's try and make this simple for my brain. Don't judge me, folks. N hot extract. So she's not comparing that. Output to 1. Yeah, okay, logic compare hot temp. What are you? Hot temp. Yeah, so that's the one that's telling it to switch on below 25. Now I'm just going to quickly. In tank B, I think that's my nitrogens. Nitrogen, I think that's the what is that comparing though? Oh my days. Yeah, logic reader, tank O2. So you see, I've already got a logic reader in here that's asking what the pressure is in my nitrogen tank. So why have I, yeah, see? So that's in. So it's a good start actually. I'm quite happy I found that. But my caps lock is on. Let's try that. Okay. So I've already got a logic reader that reads my nitrogen tank, so that's okay. Logic gate O2 hot. Oh, maybe all these chips do go around here. Let's see. Sorry folks, logic compare mix. Logic reader O2, memory O2. I think these are for the base. Yeah, these are the reading for the base. Okay. O2 hot. Okay. Right, so let me just remember that. That's reading the pressure in small tank N, which I think is this one. I'm just going to double check. Small tank N, so okay, so we got that, so that's alright. We're working on that one now. Okay, so right, that's probably yeah, this is what happens when you keep spaghetti junctions. So I've got two readers reading the same thing. Yeah, logic reader N, tank pressure. So that's reading the tank pressure. Tank P, NP, state 3000. Okay. Logic memory N, tank pressure. So maybe I have got a safety valve set up. There we go, folks. I have. There we go. So I've already answered two of my questions for nitrogen. So that doesn't switch on there. And that is asking the question if the pressure in my nitrogen tank is below 3000, less than 3000, then switch on. Then this logic gate is going to compare is it below 25 degrees? Yes. Is the pressure below 3000? Yes. And if those two read yes, that state is 1. Okay. Now I manually turn these off. So as far as the computer's concerned, this would stay running all day long because there's nothing to tell it to turn off. Right. So actually that makes it kind of easy because now all we got to do is now put some chips down to say, hey, when we've answered it, does this tank have what we need? Right. Does this tank have what we need? Okay, so what we need to do now, so that's going to be another logic tick. So a gate unit. So this is going to come out as 1. Okay, so we need another logic. What logic gate is this? And so we need another AND gate that reads does this tank have what we need? Because at the moment this is answering the questions that is the temperature below 25, is the pressure below 3000? Answer logic 1, switch on. Okay, so now I'm going to put down another AND gate because you can only have 2 inputs here. Okay, and both those inputs must read 1 for that to be 1. If one of these is 0, so if it doesn't do that, one of these is 0, that will be 0 and that won't turn on. So what we need to do is run this through another gate unit that has one side asking the question, does this tank over there have what we need? And if the answer is no, then it'll stay off. Okay, let's do that, folks. So let's get a logic gate. Right, so we're going to work by this one because, you know, fresh in our memory now. Right, okay, so what do we want? We want a gauge unit. Go on, let's be brave. Let's stick it here. Okay, and then we're going to name it. That's important. As I've just demonstrated, you name these things because when you start searching through the list, now when it's fresh in your memory, not a problem. But as you can see there, I didn't even realize I had some of that set up, and when I'm looking for it, I'm trying to work out in my memory, what on earth am I, what is my coding? So we're going to rename this one to, it's the logic gate nitrogen supply. Okay. I'm sure there's something else better I could write, but just for the now, we're going to leave it like that because it's fresh in my memory and I know what it's talking about. Okay, so we need a reader because we want to read that. We might do all this and find out that's not capable of telling me the information I want. So this is going to interrogate that pipe analyzer, and we're going to feed the information logic. Do I need to write? Do these read? Well, we'll find out. Yeah, I'm going to spend more time trying to work out that. Let's just find out. I think let's put down a writer and a reader. Again, it's 1 in the morning here, so my brain is a little bit switched off. Not that it's switched on most of the time anyway. So let's do this anyway. I mean, you know, with it being freshly installed, we can always take things out or jiggle it about. I might agree with that. We're okay. We're not going to be in the way of anything. We're probably going to need some cables, so we're going to have them to one side. So before we do that, we want to fix this one in, because the first thing you want to do is, can you find out the information? No point setting all this up, wasting all that time, only to find out that you can't actually get the information you want. So we're going to hook into here. Bosh, bosh, bosh. Okay, so we are going to call this I mean, I'll be honest with you, if these all three work, I'll forget about them and I'll never have to use them again. It's when this base shorts out or blows up that I'm suddenly like, oh sugar. Right, so this is reading nitrogen. Let's call it inventory. Inventory? Energy. Nitrogen supply. I don't like that word. Nitrogen supplies. Nitrogen stores. Let's go with that. Like I say, in the next 5 minutes, I'm not going to forget what this is. Right, so. Screwdriver. So we want to read pipe analyzer hot, and this is where these are all in alphabetical order, EFGA, so we should, LMNOPs should get down to pipe analyzer hot. Doesn't matter if you go past it, you press the letter C and you come back to it. Pipe analyzer hot. Variable. Now this is where we find out whether all the plans we have are just being scuppered. Pressure, temperature, lock, ratio oxygen, ratio carbon dioxide, ratio nitrogen. Hopefully it'll say 5%. Fingers crossed, folks. There we go, 5%, 0.05. And just to confirm that, switch that on for a bit, and that number should start dropping. Yes. Okay, so we know now we can read how much nitrogen is in that tank. So now what we want to do is convert that into switching these off. So we know this is going to work. Whether or not it's going to take it off the writer or not, we don't know. But I think I have to write it. But we're gonna. I don't know why I did that. Hey, let's just make more work for ourselves. Yeah, I haven't worked on overtime for years, but yeah, hey boss, gotta take your time. Right, so we're gonna set that up there, set that up there, power this up, power that up, get this data in, and that there, and that there. Right, so the gate unit, we need to set that up now. What did we say that was? An AND gate, so both of these have got to read 1 before it switches on. It is an AND gate, so the first one that we want to read from is this one here. Was it this one? Yes, it was. It was. Hot temp. I think. Please tell me. Please tell me I can just batch writer. I'm sensing it here. Dial. Okay, let's see what it is. Gauge unit. If this works. Oh, excellent. N hot extract. Okay. N hot extract. So now this side is reading 1, which is what we want because the temperature is below 25 and the pressure is below 3000, so that's okay. So now we need to get this one to read whether there's actually nitrogen in there. So let's see on this side if it takes off the readers. Logic compare, logic memory. Oh, wait. It does. Logic reader N stores. Oh, it's going too well, folks. It is going too well. Select AND. So if we turn that on, it will go to 1 because we've got nitrogen in the tank. All those criteria meet. Kaboof. And there we go. And yes, she didn't come on because even though when I said to it the temperature is 25, I didn't compare it. Where is it? Let me just find it. The hot tank is less than 298. Well, so if it's less, it might be because I've switched it off manually. So let's turn that on. Now we'll know if this kit is work. No, because we haven't told it when 0 is, have we? Yeah, so because we manually turned off, that's why it didn't switch on. If I then pumped the gases back in, got that above 25, that would kick in, that would satisfy that. Yeah. So, wait one, I have forgotten a step here. Okay, we're getting a bit of ahead of ourselves here. So we don't need that, let's not confuse ourselves with that one. Because, you know, I get confused super easily. While we're here, we'll just have a break. Right. This gate unit, where's the N hot extract? N hot extract? Okay, so we need to tell this one to read off this one. Logic gate N supply, okay. Okay, folks, this is where it goes wrong. Right, logic gate. So let's go to here. Logic gate, come on. Oop, went past it. Right. There we go. Now, because that's a 1 and I didn't manually turn it off, it switches on. So now let's see what happens when this gets down to 0. See, now normally if I was a tidy person, I'd just tuck this in there. But hey, you know what? Why make life easy? I tell you, I think the most fun thing in the world is when you have multiplayer and you have a wire burn out in here. And I say, hey mate, just go down and check the wiring. And they look at this and go, filters are good. Right, okay, where are we? So let's look at this, 415, 415. So if this goes to 0 and that switches off, hunky-dory. So then we would have ticked another thing off the box. So when the feeder tank is empty, turn off. Oh, I'm so pleased after that was there. It's always a pleasant surprise. You know, it's like you put on an old wedding suit after 20 years and you find a $50 bill in a pocket. Meanwhile, you spent the last 2 years being broke. It's always a pleasant surprise when you forget about something. So we're just waiting for this tank to empty. And then probably, well, I don't know if it's worth filling it up again, because all we've done extra is ask it is, does this tank have what we need? And it switched on, and that's what it did. So we know it works. So all we're doing now is we're testing to see when this feeder tank is empty, does this switch off automatically? I think if this works, I'm going to call it a win-win. I don't know how long I've been going now. I'm going to call it a win-win on this tank, and rinse and repeat with oxygen, with carbon dioxide, and probably the pollutant. The pollutant's a little bit more tricky because I haven't set anything up to take condensation out. So when I come over here, let's check on nitrogen. She is filling up a little bit. Yeah, I've got nothing to take condensation out of this pipe, so that's why I have to keep it at a very gentle 325 degrees pressure. But again, there's no problem. Actually, no, it's not complicated at all. I just set it up to say, hey, don't go above this pressure. And I'm sure there's many of you out there shouting at the screen, you're an idiot, so much easier to do it this way. You are absolutely right. I am certain there's an easier way of doing all this. But, you know, I just tool along, do the things. And that's part of the reasons why when I'm building my new extension over there, all the walls have got spaces behind them. There is a void between above the ceiling so that I can run all these cables, and I can have, and I'm going to have a chip room, dedicated computer room, chip room, where I can have walls of these, and each wall will be like, this runs so and so, and all those chips in there are associated with this. I'm not running around walls going, oh, where did I place that chip? Oh, I just plonked them any old way. But generally speaking, in this base, because this is where this system is, these chips here are mostly to do with that. These ones are mostly to do with that. Because if we go here, you'll see behind this wall, is it this one, and this cabinet, we got those these chips here. This is the base radiator, so that is keeping my pollutants cool. The reason that pollutant machine is on, that's automatic, because I've got a little bit of pollutant in the base, so that's just staying on for that. She is gradually coming down. We'll go and have a drink, something to eat. Gosh, they didn't last long, did they? Is that water bottles? Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. Oh, well, we'll need one of those anyway. Stick that there. Did I really name? No, I didn't. I'm just not looking at what I'm doing. There we go. Let's take a water bottle. so I've adjusted my volume settings, so hopefully my voice is coming through okay. How are we doing, Governor? 0.0148. Temperature is coming down to -17. I'm keeping that pollutant in there because I don't really want to throw it back out into the atmosphere, because I have read that everything you throw out in the atmosphere stays in the atmosphere. So I'm kind of looking after the environment, guys. But the other thing is, I never know when I might need that pollutant. Once I get my work on my main base radiator for my radiators, once I get the condensation problem sorted out and the pipe stressing out with liquids inside, I can throw all this gas in there, because obviously the radiators become more stable the more gas you have in them, so the temperature is more stable, it's not fluctuating so much. So that's why I'm keeping it there as long as I can. Obviously, if it gets to a point where it's too much, then yeah, I've got to throw it out the base. And I have got this pump here. This throws anything in this tank outside. I'll also empty the oxygen tank. .100. And then I've got to find somewhere. Logic reader N tank P. Logic reader tank N. They're doing the same thing, but I don't know how many chips are reading this and how many chips are reading this. So if I was just to find, I could go through the compare units and see who's reading it. And if I took that one out, see, if I put the pump there, I wonder if I could trace those pipes. Ugh, that's more hassle than it's worth. I think what I might do is maybe put the pump behind this wall and then put a switch. Could I put, if I put the pump there, where is this coming? That's coming out the tank. Let's see, that's where the pump comes in, and that's the radiator system back there. No, I think it might be easier just for me to put a switch on this wall somewhere. Maybe up here. Switch the switch, sends a message to the pump outside. I might leave the pump outside. Let's not make it more tricky than it has to be. Keep it simple, stupid. You wouldn't think that was my mantra, would you? No. Nothing simple about that, folks. But I do wish I could learn those IC chips. It'd be nice just to have a computer here, a laptop, and I just sit here and go tick, 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 job done. Yeah. But the satisfaction I get when I look at this absolute spider's web, spaghetti junction of stuff. The satisfaction I get, and I think, well, it may look like a whole bowl of cooked spaghetti, but it works. It does the job. So we're just waiting for this to get down to 0, and I'm just waiting to see if this gate unit goes to 0, because it should go to 0. This is reading the stores and the extract, so it's reading this one, and because the temperature is below 25 and the max pressure is below 3000, that'll stay on. But that side will read 1 and this side will read 0, so that should go to 0, and when that goes to 0, that should switch off. So let's see. And then once we've done that, what I'm going to do is I will probably go, there you go, the oxygen's finished, so you see I have to manually switch it off. It's just much more efficient on the electricity usage of these, if I know these things will switch off. So I know the nitrogen's got a pressure switch on it that automatically turns it off, but I'll have to double check with the oxygen. I'm not going to go running around those now. I didn't realise how much of a mission this would be. Yeah, so what I'll do once, if this switches off and this all works, I'll then run around the other side, we'll switch on the pump, and then we'll get that temperature above 25 if we can. Not a big issue if we can't, but you know, at least I can show you where the pump is. We don't need this wall anymore, so we can fix that. Yeah, it's like watching paint dry, hey? It's always, when you're watching it, it goes so slowly, but if I was to be running around doing other stuff in the base, I'd come back and, yep, 0, kaboom. So it's minus 13. Let's go check if it has much effect on our nitrogen tank. We've been looking out of that. Yeah, so it really hasn't made a lot of difference. It's not like we're pumping in a massive amount of gas into there. What are we doing with our pollutants? It is an acceptable level, so I think we'll leave that running. Oh, I did fill up the mining tool. The mining tool I use pollutant because I know I've got excess pollutants. So check that 3.41. So I just need to think something. That's keeping that at 3.3. These two are keeping that at 3.3. So it doesn't. Yeah, because obviously I don't want liquids in here. So I'm going to keep that as it is. I need to sort out a condensing valve to take the liquid out of there and pump it out to my liquids tank, my waste liquids tank. So I don't want to tempt fate. I don't want to go, oh yeah, let me show you, let's pump some nitrogen. Before I know it, I've got stressing pipes, and then it's like, oh my god, I've got to fix it. I'll give ourselves more things to do in an emergency. So I'll leave this here because that means I've got space for the, how many chips did I use on that? 1, 2, so I've got a space there and I've got 2 spaces there. So that would be for the oxygen, I think. And then we'll set up the CO2 to run. Let's put this in our cabinet, keep the workspace tidy. I'll put the deep miner on and the centrifuge runs. Normally I'm quite happy leaving the centrifuge running. I know the base can cope well with that. So I've got the deep miner on. So what are we coming from upstairs? 4.92 from the power gantry. And this is drawing 4. Battery's keeping up, that's fine. And if we go in here, to put a light switch, there we go. 83. Let's leave that running. And the deep miner is, we need, okay, right. Let's leave that for now, folks, but I'll tell you what, while we're here. So we're running at 4 kilowatts. I'm going to leave this door. Why does that suddenly feel darker? Because I didn't turn on the downstairs lights. That's why. Downstairs lights. There we go. That's better. So you see, this is why I'm not worried about the oxygen, because this is just gently feeding oxygen to the base. Nearly empty. I set this dial up to 100, so when that gets 100, I wonder if... No, we set this up to 100, that's fine. That'll do. And then I won't swap these over because this is drawing out the main tank, and we know the main tank is empty. So we'll leave that as that. So yes, I've got the deep miner, centrifugal force, and this gantry's new. Before this gantry was here, I could just look up there and I got a dial. So my oil tank, before it goes into the centrifuge, has got 43 lumps in there. Each lump is 10, so it's got 430. So I can turn that off for now, leave the centrifuge running, and you'll see that with the deep miner turned off, she was 3.5. Something kicked in to go to 442. That's a bit of a worry. What kicked on? What on earth kicked on? Something kicked on. Anyway, yeah, on my to-do list, folks, is get another red light here so I can see that switch. We don't need those, but we can come up here. There we go. Yeah, so a lot of little details here I need to work on, to-do list and all that. What kicked on? Did anything in here kick on? No. No. Okay. God, is it still going? 4%. It's taken a while. Right, okay, let's do something. Right, okay, let's get this back up. We don't need that wall. Don't need that. What we'll do, I think. Okay, come on, give it me. There we go. What's a hot spot? Not. Do we need this wall? No, we don't need this wall. I think I'm possibly just leave that one there. Okay, we don't need this floor here, so it's a flat panel. Don't need this floor. Don't need this. We want to read those, so I'll leave that there. Tell you what we can do, we can go and put a bit of oxygen in the tank from the greenhouse. That'll give us a few minutes, because yeah, that's going to be a little bit of a while yet. Yeah, so I need maybe another one of those red lights down this side of the room and down the far end. That comes on automatically during night time, so that when I put myself into sleep, I can see my way to the switch. Right, okay, let's do this. So we want to go to the greenhouse. I guess I can go and we'll do that, we'll do that. Filter's okay. Excuse me, folks. Yes.
Oxygen low.
Yeah, as always
Oxygen
leave that switch.
critical.
There we go. So I've only got, what have I got? There's not many plants in here. And it produces a little bit of oxygen. Another to-do list, I've got to set up this. No, I don't actually. It's all automatic, it'll draw the oxygen. But there's something I want to do, is I want to try and read the filtration systems, so that if one of their filters runs empty, a little red light comes on. I've been meaning to do that for a long time. It's not something I've ever tried. So you see in this room, a little bit of pollution doesn't seem to bother anything. I keep meaning to get around to have to work out how to remove it. Let's put the lights on. You see this is CO2 with a little bit of oxygen. Right, so first of all, check filters. I've only got a little bit of oxygen, but what we'll do, we'll run that. And this takes the oxygen out of this tank and puts it into the main base tank. So we'll leave that running for a bit. One wheat seed. Keep him. One wheat seed. Keep him. So I'm just doing quickly, probably not all of these. Okay, so they're all 5s, they're worth keeping. I've got to take these into the base. And I always check, I don't just mix these bags up, because sometimes these will drop down. They won't produce 5, they'll produce 4, and I don't want to keep those seeds. I keep those seeds separate and I put them through the centrifuge, and that provides me the carbon for my water filtration for the shower. There we go. Seeds, that's a 5. That's a 5. Yeah, see here, I don't know what happened there. That's a 5. Why are these dead? Interesting. It's all round. Okay, that's a problem I'm going to sort out on the next episode. I know they did an update with strawberries and things. So I wonder if they've changed. No, because this is wheat. Are these lights coming on? I'll need to come and check that, because it's just funny how they are all under these lights here. Okay, well, I'm not going to go through that today. That's another problem for another time. Interesting. So I'm going to leave them there. We plant one of these. No, let's plant 2 of these in here, and then seeds, and then we'll get more seeds. Temperature's good. Yeah, let's come back to that. I will sort that out another time. I need to. So you see that nearly empty. That'll do. Turn the lights off. Curious as to why that happened. I mean, if it was all tomatoes and the wheat wasn't affected, and maybe I think they've adjusted the parameters on the tomatoes since their update with the new crops. Is the temperature getting too hot in there? Huh. That I'll have to come back and check. Another thing on my to-do list. It's never ending, folks. Never ending. Turn you off, so always remember to turn you off. Stick those there. I'm going to stick you in the fridge for now. Alright, let's go see how we are doing. That's got me puzzled now. It's got me puzzled. My brain's working a little bit on that one now. So before we run upstairs, just check 3.6. She's down to 3.43. Sun is rising. Alright, so we've got it on 0.10. I've got a feeling I might have to edit this. Yeah, I think probably what I'll do, folks, is I'll edit this bit to see. You don't have to sit here and watch me waiting for this to tick down. 5.5. And these are the pipe meters for, so that's reading the nitrogen tank. the far end of the base. This one's reading oxygen. And this one's reading the CO2. And this one is reading that one. Should we put it up to 3.4? Should we do it? Let me save it first. Always a good idea to save your game before you do anything that's likely to blow your base up. I should save my game more regularly as well because we are prone to power outages here. So 3.4, 3.41. Let's go to 3.45. That'll do us. And there's no liquids in there, so that's good for now. Keeping under tolerances. You see there, she drew a little bit of pollutant out. Oxygen. Oh. Does the oxygen... What? Or maybe the oxygen tank in... I'm going to have to check that. Because then I can empty... Like I flush my greenhouse. I'm just thinking, folks. Do I need the oxygen tank in the greenhouse? Yes, I do. Because it... Do I? Interesting. Okay. So we'll put this one on. So, I think maybe the reason I put the oxygen tank in the greenhouse was then I could see how much my plants were producing in a given time period. And maybe it's like a backup emergency. So if any oxygen tanks failed in the base, I've got a pure supply of oxygen sitting in the greenhouse that's unaffected. So if any of these pipes on this line broke, I'm not. It's not a major disaster. I've got time to sort it because I've got oxygen in reserve. So I think I'm going to keep it as it is because it's always good to have a backup. Always good. I mean, if this part of the base, let's say I blew a pipe in there and it released all that into the environment, at least I know I've got oxygen in my greenhouse that I can feed into. That was my thinking with that. But obviously the oxygen coming in here is probably going to be super cold. But it doesn't matter because it's going to mix with the biggest tank of all, and that's the base. Let's check. We're not going to have any frozen. I don't think gas freezes. I think it's the liquid that freezes, isn't it? So where are we? It's reading 4.6, 4.7. That's okay. We can live with that. Let's stop freezing. Pollution's not rising. Yeah, it's millimoles now. Millimoles. So these are the trend indicators to let me know if I've got a problem with CO2 rising. If that was to be keeping rising, I know there's a problem with that filtration, but the fact that it's flatlining, and if anything, if I could zoom out on that, it'd be going downwards. So that's good, but if that was constantly stepping up, I know there'd be a problem somewhere. It's taken a while, hey? Yes, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this bit out. Yes, I'm going to cut this bit out, folks, because I've got to sit here and watch. And I'll see you when this gets nearly to 0. Okay, right folks, so she has switched off. It only got down to 0.09, so basically I would have turned it off long ago. So this then switched off because the reader that reads how much must have dropped below something that triggers, it must be 0.000, and it says no, that's empty. So that's why there's a little bit left in there. I could switch it on manually, but that's not the point. So this works. So when we started this session, what I wanted to do was for that to turn on these three questions. Is the temperature below 25? Is the destination temperature at max? And does this tank have what I need? And when all of those were correct, it was on. So we had the temperature below 25, we had the pressure at the destination below 3000, and we had the supply. So now the temperature is below 25, the destination is below max. However, this chip says that this is below 0, and then as we saw, that made funny noises, and well, it clicked on and off three or four times and stopped. So that's good. So now that will not switch on again until that is below 25, that is below 3000, and that says that there's nitrogen in the tank. So what we're going to do is we're going to test that now. I'm going to run outside and we're going to switch on the hot tank and transfer some gases. Now, if that takes it above 0, it'll be interesting to see if this is going to wait until it gets above 25. So that's going to be one of the things we're going to check, because everything is good except the fact there's nothing in there. So if I switch on that hot tank and this switches on, I'm going to have to come running in and see. Well, I can actually, there's a temperature gauge outside. I'll see. I'll try and switch that off before it gets above 25 degrees. So let's go and do that. Let's go and switch the pump on and see if this works. Is autonomously the right word? If it works without fear of blowing up? Let's go check it out. Let's have a quick slurpy of water. There we go. Grab something to eat. Right, let's go running outside. Let's switch on this pump. I know I turned off, so let's turn those to that. And that. And then we'll turn this off because we like to conserve energy. 324 she's using, and she's chucking down 6 still. I've got a storage battery up in the gantry, so that's filtering down some power. Right. Power supply is not really an issue on this base, it's just where I'm working a lot on everything. I'm using more power than normal, and I did drain my main battery the other day to test it. Right, so this is the pump that takes, so my furnace is deep underground because that thing, if something's going to blow up, it's going to be that, and I want it far away from the base, but I don't want it outside because it's ugly, so I'm going to keep it down there. Plus it makes this area look kind of cool. Let's have a look. So we've got nitrogen in there. We've got nothing in there that's going to cause us a problem. So here's the gauge. It tells me we're at 644. I can read what's inside there. It's minus 16. So let's turn this on. Let's get this up a bit. So there's the nitrogen. It's up to 1%. I'm just keeping an eye on that temperature now. Just make sure that doesn't go above 25 because we just want to see if it'll switch on. Okay, I think that's enough for the test. There's my outside main radiators. I was going to show you the radiators that cool. So this bank of radiators cools that tank inside. I don't want any of that heat from that tank getting inside the base. So that is the base radiator right there. That's what keeps the base at the constant temperature. That's my new extension. I'm busy slowly filling that up now as we speak. Well, it's not filling up now, but I am gradually filling it up. That's why my base pressure dropped a little bit. Oh, why is that still a target 86? We don't want that target 86. Oh, where's my chip? Oh, I've left it. I've left it over there. So I need to come back. No, that's my suit internals. Is it? Yeah. Why am I suit internals? Another question I don't know the answer to. I have many of those questions. Huh. Target is 101, so my suit goes up to 86. I don't know. Right, so let's just put that off in there, put that in there, put that in there. Yeah, so I was saying I need to go and check the battery up there. It shouldn't be, might be not quite getting enough. The reason why I don't want that to fill up and this to stay empty is because that's wasted energy. But I'm surprised it's dormant. Well, maybe I haven't been looking at it. Right. Anyway, let's not get distracted, folks. Let's go. Let's go quickly. Let's go see if we switches on. Or maybe it only switches on when it gets back over 25. It resets itself. No. That's super, folks. So the questions were, is it under 25? Was yes, it is. Is the destination pressure below 3000? Yes. And then it switched off when, is there nitrogen in that tank? And the answer was no. So this was no, and that switched off. But now that there's nitrogen in there, okay, it's pumping at minus 11, which if I did this all the time, kept that below 25, yes, it would affect my nitrogen tank. But we'll go double check that and make sure that she's not. Yeah, 21. I'm happy for that for the test. It's just a small amount of nitrogen we're going to be putting in there. But no, ordinarily, I wouldn't do. I wouldn't switch these filters back on. I'm going to switch this one off. Okay. Ordinarily, I wouldn't just pump in such a small amount of gas from the really hot tank. I would just pump in a whole lot, like 3 megapascals, and this would get right up to about 120, 130, 200 degrees, something like that. So I just did a small amount just to test. I'd normally let this go way above 0, so that wouldn't affect my main base. I could put in the logic there to say, hey, if the temperature's below, let's say, 5 degrees, stop, all stop, then that would kind of eliminate the risk of any frozen pipes. Possibly something I'm going to do in the future, but not today. So that is a win-win, I think, for me today. I've got to go and find out now why those crops died. That's something important because I've only got such a few amount of plants, but they do provide me oxygen, and if I'm now only relying on fewer plants, then obviously I'm producing less oxygen. I might be supplying enough just for myself. That might not be an issue. Oh, come on. There we go. But obviously I like to be on the safe side. I want to find out why those plants died. Okay, folks. Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode. I'm actually quite pleased with that. Enjoyed myself. And you had a high insight into you know, all these walls, not all of them, most of these walls in this base are just, yeah, they got wiring and pipes and everything. It's a nightmare if I want to try and do a major project. So that's one of the reasons why I did the extension, and I can move this out there. But yeah, I'm pleased with that result. So she's going to stay on now. When the nitrogen runs out, that'll stop, and so I haven't got to worry about having to come down here and check my filtration systems off. I know they don't use a lot of power, but every machine that uses a lot of power, the more machines they stay on, it does add up. Let's check my pollution. 0.68, she's okay. I'm going to check my filters very quickly. These only really come on if the base is over 101. These will take out from the base. This obviously comes on when there's pollution in the base, but there's so little. Check that there's no liquids in there, and we're all good as golden. We've got spare filters. Everything's good here, because the next problem I predict going to come up is this filter's on 2, but it's drawing through this one. So when this one runs out, this one's going to run out very quickly. But maybe what I can do in this circuit is, again, ask a question of it. Are the filters there? And that way it won't switch on, it'll say switched off. Although it'll switch on and throw an error. Not a big issue, it won't break anything. But that would probably give me an exercise in how to read these. I've never done it. I would love to do it, because I'd love to have a little red light in my controller that says, hey, one of your filtration units needs looking at. I think that would be quite a cool idea. I've seen it done. I know it's possible. But yeah, it'd be interesting to have a go at it and see what it's like. Anyway, folks, thank you very much for watching this episode. Please like and subscribe. The likes mean a lot to me. And also as well, if you do enjoy my channel and you subscribe and you spend some time watching it, then the algorithm says, hey, his subscribers like the video, so let's try pushing it to other people. So, but the likes definitely help. That gives me a boost. So we are going to check everything's turned off that doesn't need to be left on. I don't like to leave these on while I'm sleeping. What are we still supplying? We are running at 3 kilowatts. That's good. 5 coming from the top. That's good. That gives me confidence that the batteries upstairs are being efficient, throwing everything down here. Yeah, so we don't need to go up into the gantry. We're okay. And the gantry is that thing up there. Nope, come. And there's the gantry. The ladder going up. And then the battery is up there somewhere, just there. With the solar panels up there. It looks quite cool. I was quite pleased with that design. Anyway, keep it easy, folks. And
cognition low.
I hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you next time. Keep it easy.